Code Red, this is me, Piglet here. We are about to be able to present to you the next episode of Let's Play Rabbids Go Home for the Nintendo Wii. Commander, I want you to be able to unprecedented by the forms of getting more stuff among the next couple of levels up ahead. Do you copy? I guess it doesn't register with me. Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Piglet here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Rabbids Go Home for the Nintendo Wii / Nintendo DS. So, last time we actually did manage to be completely done with the first two levels in the forms within Area 4, and now we're going to be continue on, and hopefully we might as well able to wrap things up with Area 4, so that way we could able to actually gather, as we expected, more stuff in addition to all kinds of other stuff. So, yeah, let's get started right here. The next level we're going to be hitting to is the forms of, as soon as that level name is about to be shown up, Time is Money, Honey. Alright, so to kick things off is the fact that once again we're going to be exploring through the forms of the office rooms and all that stuff. Now, we've actually come across into the forms of those particular light blue lightning floors, as you can see right there. What happens is the fact that I'm pretty sure that if you accidentally manage to able to actually run into the forms of those particular obstacles, as soon as we're able to come across one, as soon as we're able to actually grab you know, item number 20, if I'm assuming. Yeah, we're about to be running into it, and as you can see, we're about to be losing control here. See, Fernando, in order to actually regain ourselves back up, is that we need to obviously, we might as well able to either get hit, or just maneuver around for a few seconds, and then that's all you really have to do for this point. So, yeah, that's as far as I can say, so, yeah, everything all comes together, so... Yeah, today was actually forms of the 20th of November, 2018, and I'm gonna be honest, guys, that this is the reason why that it took so long to able to actually get back into those YouTubing stuff, so, and plus, it took me a lot of, out of recording sessions to able to actually deal with the couple of, you know, Let's Plays in general, mainly by the forms of how the fact that, you know, cutscenes in general, and especially noticeable with a well-balanced audios, clips and stuff, but hey, at least as far as you might as well see this will turn out, so... Oh, here's that radio box again that we've seen from earlier ago, and of course, my version of that Rabbids doesn't like that particular music tone, so he prefers like some sort of a jazz type of instruments in the background, so, you know, you get the idea. So, yeah, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that, you know, the difficulty will start to able to get a lot more difficult these days, especially when we get into the forms of, like, I would say classified by the forms of the very last level in Area 4, and, consecutively, that, we seem to be almost done with the actual Let's Play of, Rabbids Go Home, ladies and gentlemen, because, well, after the next couple of stages up ahead, then we'll assumably we can able to actually wrap things up and during the likes of throughout in the at the very least at the end of this month, roughly though, and then eventually until next month it will be let's just say a double bill Let's Play of somewhere between Mega Man 11 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and then Nintendo Switch and PC Steam version as well, and especially noticeable with the forms of a redo Let's Play of Mario Kart 7, but the only questionable thing about it is the fact that we need to figure out how to able to actually do a proper recording session for the 3DS games these days. Even though Nintendo Switch is actually very simple and easy for the most part though, but especially with the PlayStation 4 and the Wii U and also PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii for component cables and all that stuff. And you get the idea, but I still haven't figured out the forms of the retro consoles yet, just because, well, I did try those out, but it still doesn't recognize it as much as it used to be, so, oh well, no big deal. But hey, at least I did manage to try for my circumstances though anyway, so anyways, let's go up here onto this escalator, and let's just get more of those green bottle packs, and they'll be good to go.
Hello, Sandra.
And here's the forms of probably the most difficult part about this stage sometimes, is that unless if you really trying to be curious to able to actually trying to go after every single stuff, then, well, I highly recommend you not doing that, just because, well, first of all, you might actually bump into yourselves all over the place most of the time, and, well, to make matters worse is the fact that, since we don't come across into the forms of the actual Trump, Rabbids yet, this means how the fact that if we manage to mess things up on this particular section, right now I've got 146 stuff at the moment for the time, and guess what really happens as soon as that little cutscene is about to be finished, even though you really can't skip those, because obviously that's what, you know how Ubisoft these days. As you can see, all my stuff is lost too. So, if that's to be the case, I am seriously screwed with the forms of for presence runs. So, that is entirely my fault for able to actually just to waste my time, even by the forms of some levels cases. So, that was definitely my fault. But it could be worse though, especially noticeable compared to the forms of like flipping through walls and stuff, like glitches and stuff, but either way though, let's just screw that, let's just skip that item, and after all that effort, I pretty much gathered a lesser amount of stuff, like 41 stuff, so there goes 146 of my previous stuff, which I should have got in the first place, but I was a little bit too slow, and I think it's most likely because you know how the fact that with 100% completion is definitely the most toughest part about the game, just because of how the fact that most of the levels of the game did manage to able to retain some of these linear levels and sometimes you know, time limit sections, which if you somehow mess things up, then all of your stuff will be gone completely. Well, apart from the fact that you could potentially try to restart the level and then you have to do them all over again if that will be the best option for you, but it's just for my calculations about the fact that I keep on making several mistakes sometimes. But either way though, let's just move on. Probably not gonna risk it too much, but when it comes to grinding for more of those items here, just because, well, after all that effort I've managed to win through, that well, you do have 30 seconds time limit thing, which you might as well able to actually consider this to be kind of a good thing, but other than that though, you know. And just like in the forms of Rayman Raving Rabbids 2, is that every once in a while, those Rabbids manage to able to belch every once in a while. Especially noticeable how the fact that if you drink too much, like say like soft drinks or fizzy drinks or something, normally that's what belching how it goes. So, but I'm not going to mention about it too much though, because even then I found that to be kind of disgusting though. So anyway. A few things I want to explain about this is the fact that recently, during the likes of yesterday on my own time, I've managed to able to finally pre-order myself Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from the Nintendo Switch. And I'm gonna say though, I'm really looking forward to that still, even though I was a little bit somewhat skeptical when it comes to like the actual process of the forms of how, you know how the informs of how the fact that there was no trophies in the entire game, instead it's been replaced at somewhat of a bit of a similar concept as of how it does it in stickers, but it forms within Super Smash Bros. Brawl, which, honestly, I don't mind about it too much, other than the fact that it's all pretty much randomized most of the time though right here. Oh, how dare you trying to make me just go for this little electronic panel, or in this case, the electric panel. Oh, jeez. Anyways though, but yeah, for these spirits modes, they are very similar to the forms of stickers from Brawl, except the fact that, well, they kind of sort of use a reused artwork from every kind of Nintendo games these days. I kind of wish there was like there was actually like characters to come to life syndrome or something like that, just like the trophies did from back in the old days. But at least that's my only skepticism for. At first glance though, anyway, so. Anyways though, there's the forms of this particular item right there. I don't know exactly what this item is called. Let me know in the comments below of how the fact that if I don't seem to recognize the forms of most of the United States of America items, but either way though. So, let's just place in 600 stuff in addition to 800 and, well, let's just say 221 So, yeah, there goes my second level for the 4 presents run. So, if only because of how the fact that, if only if I don't mess things up with the forms of that first time limit section. So, oh well, at least I did try though, I really do. But anyway, now let's go ahead and move along to the next level in Area 4, and that will have to be, down here, which appears to be that particular broken down car, County Free-for-All. Was it like free-for-all from everyone? Or in this case, a free-for-all battle royale or something? I don't know, I just make a confess to myself, so... In this one, I'm assuming this is one of the first levels that I was assuming anyway, that we can able to actually explore for almost every single portion of the actual level itself, even the world environment itself. So, now of course, much like how it does it from before, we need to find 5 pipes, and then once we do so, then we can able to actually move along and well, not so much for moving along because the end of a level is just on the backyard of that specific house, so you can definitely see why as soon as we're able to actually just explore all over the place when it comes to this level alone. So you get the idea. Excuse me. Another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that you remember when I said this before about the fact that we've already got ourselves the forms of the physical versions of Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land 2 for the Game Boy / Game Boy Color, and Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color, that we've actually got those recently during the past few days. I finally realized about the fact that with the used conditions for the forms of those 3 items combined, I seem to start to realize about the fact that my copies of Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, that as soon as I turn on that game up on my physical version, it starts off fresh. And same applies for Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color, which also starts fresh, which I really do appreciate about this kinds of stuff. On the other hand though, that won't be the same applies for Wario Land 2 for the Game Boy / Game Boy Color, just because as soon as I turn on that game up, it did instantly manage to able to actually just to go to Story 1, well, no, let's just say chapter, sorry, I can't speak today for this point, folks. It leads me, as soon as I hit the continue icon, it leads me straight away on chapter 1, story 4, which actually leads us to the forms of like the basement level, if you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But either way though, I've managed to able to play that, actually kind of think about it, I've managed to able to actually play Wario Land 2 first, just because I feel like that game's more fun for me though anyway, because even then though, because there's going to be a lot of exploration. Well, I do usually enjoy Wario Land 3 for that little bit considerable for the time, and it's probably the best in the series, which, yeah, don't get me wrong, it still is very awesome even to this day. But on the other hand though, I always attempt to try out Wario Land 2 first, just because, well, I suddenly found that game to be quite easy and very simple and self-explanatory for the most part. Even though it might be not very complicated altogether, but hey, at least as far as that was all concerned. Another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that, well, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, still no sign by the forms of that specific news of the Mr. Potato Head's voice actor in the forms of in Toy Story 4 yet, but the forms of that voice replacement, because you know how the fact that on Don Dickles, by the forms of the original voice of, you know, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 for Mr. Potato Head, that he sadly passed away, which I felt sorry for, and I don't know who's going to be replacing him, but either way though, we'll never know until whenever we find out, and join at some point in the future. Mainly by the forms of like at some point, as far as at some point or another, it might actually be like, I would say pretty much almost at the halfway point of it though. Well, I would say a year and a half maybe? Well, I would say about 7 months or so for April to actually releasing Toy Story 4 on the big screen, which still I'm looking forward to it, and I'm especially really hyped for it. So anyway, another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that I guess to be honest, I haven't really have not much else to really say about this, other than the fact that with the forms of Some new stuff has been coming, and still no sign for Nintendo Direct yet, quite yet, even by the forms of originally, according to rumors, that they're going to be revealing 2 Nintendo Direct presentation and during the likes of during this month, but still no luck of the second Direct, because even then, although it might be a little bit too early, though still, just because of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct already claims to be happening. But anyways, though, that's enough about that discussion. So, of course, I need to double check on those bushes just to see if there aren't any more stuff around here, including some of these, wow, some items to be collected for. So, anyways, I think we're done from here, and let's just double check in here. Ow. Stupid dorks with all this. What the? Hold on. Hold the phone. What the hell? What's going on with that dog up there? Hello? Is it just me, or is he just floating above from it? I don't know what's for sim to short, but, let me double... Okay, it starts to get weird for this point. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the actual... I would say a chicken or something. I really don't know if that's if or not, but, I'll just make things up a little bit. So anyways, let's get rid of these little red inflatable objects here, and just dash for these little ramps just to get even more items to spare, and next thing you know, it's out of fact that we can able to actually get even more items due to townspeople and stuff, and hopefully you might as well get the drill from this point. So anyway, before you go to the right, just need to grab these little haystack, even though there's also an alternative pathway we can take. But hey, at least I can able to deal with just as that, so... Anyways, small Santa Claus! Ho ho ho! Even though we've only got ourselves about, like, 35 days left, actually, until Christmas, so... Not long now for this point. So even then, I was quite surprised how the fact that days themselves can go really faster and quick. Which, I will admit it though right away, it just usually just happens, anyway. I'll get back here. Santa Claus. I need some gifts. I need some gifts now. Jeez. Anyway. Still no sign by the forms of, Cap King 74 for a little bit, even though apart from the fact that he did already manage to able to realize that, he already just, managed to able to continue things on with, as you expected, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but, I don't know when he's ever going to be able to finishing that particular Let's Play, I wonder. Even though that, specifically, Mario still need to get back into Super Mario Odyssey eventually, but either way, though, we'll find out at some point. Of course, as you expected, that if they managed to start on any forms of the actual barbecue thing, the bombs were able to actually get even a bit heating up, and as a result, if you get burned by that, it can get pretty sore in the end. So as you see right there, the actual main object, or the actual item of the actual level is just literally right there. But in order to actually get to it though, is that, as you might think, that we need to grab 5 parts of the pipe. So even then though, as we expected, that as soon as you're able to actually completely done with exploration for the forms of like an open world filled level, and expecting so, then you would able to actually realize how the fact that, well, most of these red pipes are usually normally located in the forms of the Santa Claus disguised people, but still. So yeah, you get the idea, but first of all, let me just double check if there are any items I've missed, which thankfully that might as well not be. And we'll grab the actual item in this level, and we are done for, well, for considerably amount of time. So, but for whatever reason, it just took us in the forms of out of nowhere breakable wall and stuff, which I'm assuming that only happens whenever you're trying to finish the main level, if you manage to able to obtain the actual item itself or something. I don't know what that is. Anyways, so we've got ourselves, excuse me, 53 stuff off, but that's okay though, because well, I'm perfectly fine with. So, anyway. Alright, so another thing I just want to explain about this is the fact that we're actually trying to able to actually deal with coming back into the forms of Sonic Mania as far as the forms of the Encore mode showcase. How the fact of the matter is, though, is that I've now managed to able to sort that out. Actually, before we get into this, however, though, we're actually going to be going to somewhere a little bit special for the actual level itself, which, if we go into it, Hoppy Xmas! Ho ho ho! Is it Christmas already? I mean, I've already explained this before, but we've only got about 35 days to go. I mean, geez, is it a bit too early to showcase off Christmassy items like this? Could be one of the potentials, but anyways. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing going in Hoppy Xmas. And it's going to take place in new forms of inside the, let's just say a washing machine company, or sometimes by the forms of like, I would say a hospitality or something like that. Well, we'll find out as soon as we're able to continue exploring for this stage. So, but either way though, that's just not much else I can really just try to say about this for the most part though. Well, apart from the fact that, of how the fact of the matter is though, is that I, managed to able to discover how the fact that, for those of you ever trying to play Sonic Mania Plus on the Nintendo Switch. One thing I actually did not actually realize is the fact that I managed to able to actually require a digital download, or I've actually restored my download data on my Nintendo Switch version of Sonic Mania on the forms of the original version, but then as soon as I boot up my Mania Plus physical version of the game without even downloading the normal version of, oh crap, looks like we got ourselves the new counterparts with the people suits themselves now, and this time around though it's in black. So the only major difference is this time around though is the fact that they now become a little bit more of a tougher opponent, because as you can see that he now spins around as the forms of his spin attacks. So yeah, we have to watch out for that at all times, just in case if you really don't want to can't afford to get hit, then you know, more power to you. So anyways, as soon as I'm able to actually boot things up by the forms of Sonic Mania Plus on the physical version of my Nintendo Switch, and if I start the software normally, it just managed to kick me out of the actual home menu. But as soon as I'm able to figure out that gruntly though, I've now actually set up my Wi-Fi settings on my Nintendo Switch now in my new environment, and turns out that how the fact of the matter is though is that I need to download the original Sonic Mania downloadable version in order to actually play it properly. I know it sounds a little bit odd for you guys, even especially noticeable how the fact that, let me know in the comments below if you have resolved that problem, but either way though, that's as far as it will go. So anyways though, and yeah, that's what I can really say about this here. So I can assume this still takes place in hospitality and stuff, because you see that one of the people did manage to able to lay on the forms of that specific you know, bedding here. I'm not exactly entirely sure. Thankfully though, these bumpers are green instead of red, so just in case I don't able to get screwed over for the most part though. So yeah, speaking of you know, keep on dying several times, eventually, you know, when we get to the forms of Area 5 and onwards, that, you know, the game starts to get pretty difficult these days. Don't expect me if I manage to able to continuously die a lot, even by the forms of Area 5 and onwards. Well, not so often in the forms of in Area 4, especially with the forms of like, well, I usually did in Area 3, just because of the forms of the glitches sometimes, by the forms of clipping through the floor and stuff, and even, yeah, that's as far as I can really try to say about this. So, alright, so we've actually stumbled across this little dustbin again, but I think we already saw that coming before. Actually, before we get into this, I need to grab more stuff, well, usually one of them from here, well, just in case if I need to able to stack up even more items as a result of that addition. And of course, we got ourselves the returning cleaning robot type of obstacle here, or in this case, that particular machinery stuff. But either way, though, just like before, just guide him onto the forms of that specific icon over there, and then that's all you have to do here. So, yeah, as far as I can say. So, again, not much else can talk about this at this point, other than the fact that, well, we actually got ourselves by the forms of, like, ow. We only got about, like, 6 more days to go. For those of you who lived in UK, if you are to stop that. Jesus Christ, where do I even start? Anyways, though, apart from the fact that, I'm probably not going to buy anything for eBay at the moment, by the forms of how the fact that since Christmas is getting closer at this rate. So, if that's been the case, though, then I should probably be able to actually save my cash for the time being. Can you really knock it off, please? Jeez, what is going on with you? Or perhaps it's maybe because I wasn't paying too much attention, though. But at least I can hopefully I might as well able to get some of my light bulbs back. And thankfully though, we've actually got some. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing from now on for this point. And even though, as I said this before, I'm probably not going to get Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu from now on, though. Just because, well, there are a lot of things that has been residable between, you know, Pokemon Go on the application and stuff. And especially noticeable with the forms of, you know, basically pretty much everything. So, anyways, though, let's get into this elevator right here, all in black and white fashion. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this might be the final time we're going to be seeing this. I'm not exactly sure. And speaking about the forms of the final time segments, is the fact that, do you remember any forms of one of the scenes of the forms of, like, you know, when the Rabbids did manage to able to actually stack even more items on the forms of trying to able to create a massive, you know, tower of junk of any sorts, and then, you know how the fact that one of the Rabbids cannot even reach the moon, and then he just somehow just falls over by accident, and he just sees the atmosphere of the city. That was actually the final time we're going to be seeing that, just because, well, it wasn't until when we get to the very end of the game, just because, well, the ultimate goal is basically we need to able to reach up to, like, you know, 23,000 feet when it comes to, like, getting more junks in here and there, and you know the rest. Especially noticeable with the actual main objective and these things goes. So, anyways, though, let's go ahead and get some more items here, especially noticeable with, like, these townspeople, for instance. And, eventually, at this point in time, for this point, folks, is the fact that we've only got ourselves about 2 more days left until the 5-year anniversary of the forms of Super Mario 3D World, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS, and especially noticeable with the PlayStation 4, well, at least in terms for North American's launch, and especially noticeable with the Xbox One, and even especially noticeable with, well, Mario Party Island Tour, that, those 3 gaming stuff, as far as the only games I was talking about, they are now going to be 5 years old for that time, including by the forms of 3 days left. For those of you who are still a brony yet, well, at least you might as well able to know that Season 4 has been out for 5 years. Jesus Christ, time really do flies, doesn't it? And I'm still very depressing about the fact that I've heard from several rumors that Season 9 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is going to be, like, Season 9 is going to be the grand finale of the actual show itself, which it still really depresses me, because I really wish if they still do some more, even when it gets to, like, Season 10 or 11 or anything, but apparently due to the forms of the actual rumors, as far as they've said this, as far as it will go, I think they're going to be starting to be moving on to the next generation by the forms of Generation 5 when it gets to, like, 2020. So, I'm hoping that I might be a little bit alright with that, but usually I think Generation 4 is probably for the best for me. Even by the forms of, like, way up there by the forms of in comparison to the forms of Generation 1, 2, 3, and 3.5 especially, because those versions to me, though, are kind of lame, to be honest, because it just doesn't feel right to me, though, even by the forms of, like, some modern technology or anything else for that was ideable. Especially I give, you know, Friendship is Magic show still some credit for able to actually make the animation so unique, especially noticeable with the forms of Lauren Franz. That, if I remember her name, that she also did on the forms of the original Powerpuff Girls back in during the likes of the end of the, well, let's just say the late 90s and stuff. So anyways, though, And here's the forms of the Christmas tree itself. Now we can able to sing the jingle jingle bells all over again, but in the forms of the Rabbids voice or something like that. I'm just kidding, because it's still way too early to able to celebrate for this point yet, but either way though, as soon as we grab the Christmas tree, then the forms of the actual Rabbids crew are still around, and oh Jesus Christ, I will never buy a Christmas tree like this. Whenever he just goes down to the toilet, it'll just covered in germs, or even worse, bacteria if you're not paying attention. But anyways though, 48 off from the 1000 points mark, but again, that's okay because I really don't care. Well, unless some people do care about the forms of 1000 points mark, but either way though, I did try my best to able to actually get the best run as possible. But either way though, there's the Christmas tree itself. It's kind of strange that most of the decorations doesn't seem to come off on the actual tree itself, which I found is a little bit strange. But anyways though, we've only got 2 more levels left, so yeah, we're getting quite close towards the end of Area 4, so I can't believe it's been shocking, doesn't it? But either way though, let's just go ahead and just, you know, wrap things up and all that stuff. So yeah, you get the idea. Okay, quick error right there. I have to quickly do a jump cut because I need to, you know, get some of my juice until I'm able to actually start speaking again, especially with commentary sakes. So, anyways though, let's move on. As I said this before, we are moving on to the forms of the next level in the forms of in Area 4, or I should say the last level in Area 4, Cow-tch me if you can. So, get it? Because of catch me if you can, and all that stuff. But either way though, I'm assuming it's going to be one of those levels that we need to, once again, we need to catch the cow before the truck gets away. So even then, that's how the simple premise of this level will go. Alright, let's get to it, shall we? So, again, this is where the game starts to get pretty difficult, because right from the start though, is the fact that if you really want to get every single items or stuff, if you want to able to be more precise, then you really can't take your time either due to the actual gauge, as you can see right there. And plus there are some ton of annoying obstacles like these inflatable red objects, as you can see right there, that are impossible to dodge in my opinion, just because the actual like the depth or the actual hit detection is so, well, I won't say it's big, but it's just a little bit too medium when it comes to the forms of the hitbox and stuff. But either way though, as we expected, we're going to be skating on the water of any sorts, which, you know, just like in the forms of the previous 2 levels in Area 4. Speaking of such, you know how I said this before about the fact that Area 4 is going to be most likely going to be water themed level as far as trying to able to skate along with the forms of the water? Well, 2 of them are, well, at least 1 also as well, by the forms of this level in particular. But the rest are very simple and straightforward, you know, just run on the road type of levels syndrome like this. So, again, nothing really too much to discuss for this point. So, anyways, let's go ahead and, oh Christ, I have to dodge through these. Oh God. Ah, shoot. I have to restart the entire level again, which I'm pretty sure that this level doesn't contain any checkpoints other than the fact that if I manage to get to the next section, then if I manage to claim my checkpoint, then obviously my stuff will be lost entirely. So that will be a bad thing, mind you. So we'll try that one again, and I'm hoping I can able to actually do a successful attempt on this run. So, but again, as to be expected for any other skills, you know, tactics and stuff like that for that nature. But either way though, let's just go ahead and just try this level again. So, but I'm hoping I don't mess things up again, because if I do, if I manage to mess things up for a second time though, I have to jump cuts whenever I just manage to get to that certain point. I think I accidentally died by those little stupid red inflatable objects as far as the spinning wheels goes, and especially noticeable with this really stupid inflatable blooming, you know, for that stupid red objects, as far as you already guys should know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, every time you took off by the forms of that little dash ramp, it always just takes you to the forms of like, somewhat of a cool scene close-up. So either way though, let's go ahead and get some more stuff from those dash ramps. And hopefully we're almost nearly towards the end, even though we keep on getting hit most of the time, which I'm still not big fond of. But either way though, let's just go ahead and continue and dodge that stupid obstacles here, and dodge these little whole pack of like red log or something like that. And we reached to the very end, surprisingly, even though we need to be very quick, otherwise it will go away. Oh, hold on a second there, because the level wasn't exactly over yet, because we need to deliver the cow in about a minute, just because you know how the fact that most likely new forms of one of those, you know, in a plane jet kind of levels, we do need to worry about the bomb time limit, and as a result, if it runs out, then I'm presuming you have to, like, restart the whole entire level again, or perhaps maybe restart to where the checkpoint is by the forms of that second segment. At least if I remember that correctly, but either way though, it's not too bad though, honestly. You got plenty of time to able to make your way from here, and there we go. That's about it by the forms of Cow-tch me if you can kind of level. So there we go then. So let's see how far we've got into in this level. So it looks like we've gathered 932, so we're off by, I would say 68 stuff, but whatever though. But at least we can able to actually just get on with it. So, and that's pretty much it for Area 4. If you think that Area 4 is completely done yet, well, much like in the forms of well, Area 2, there's going to be a minigame challenge. See, Fernando, that just like before, that we do need to accomplish it. So Cack-a-Phony. So even then, what this meant is the fact that well, as soon as we find out, until whenever we get to the forms of the inside portion of the Wii Remote controller itself, because you know there aren't any stuff to collect at this point in time. So, and for the most part though, we've gathered every single abilities by the forms in some of these mini levels from now on though. So let's see what challenge do we have this time. So we have the forms of the recording your music sessions. See, Fernando, that's well, if you ever played Rayman Raving Rabbids, the first one and the second game, and even TV Party, you know exactly how it sounds. Basically, you just choose the instrument and you follow these simple notes and stuff. Even it's basically it's just a tutorial thing like anything else. But as soon as you're done with this kinds of stuff, and you can able to record that, and you are essentially done. So it's that simple. So there we go. So now we've actually got ourselves our 5th light bulb, and that will be due for Area 4 completely. So yeah, that's about it. So we've only got ourselves 2 more areas left. So welcome to the forms of Area 5, by the forms of like a little bit trickier as far as the actual area goes, but either way though, it's not too drastically difficult or anything like that. But then again, we'll save that up until the next time's video. So even then, I'm gonna have to end things off at this point right there, I'm afraid, guys. So join me next time, but let's play Rabbids Go Home. Is that we are about to get things started by the forms of Area 5. So things can get pretty interesting to say the least. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.